What's happening everyone, and welcome back to a brand new Battlefront 2 video, and today we're going to be ranking all heroes and villains together from worst to best due to popular demand. Now a lot of you guys showed Unreal support on my hero ranking video a few days ago, and I reckon I was pretty spot on with the rankings, but I can assure you today people will definitely disagree. Now of course this is my personal opinion, so try not to get too angry if a hero is too low or too high for your liking. But in this video we will be taking into account the recent buffs, nerfs, hero changes and inclusions that have pretty much influenced the list pretty heavily since the last time I'd done this. And I've got to say this wasn't an easy list to put together. Good heroes are lower than they deserve, but that's due to the level of some of the game's best heroes and they've got to go somewhere. Now before we dive into this, if you want to see more videos just like this one, then be sure to show your support on this video, and as always feel free to subscribe for more Battlefront 2 content. But now let's dive into the rankings. So taking out the crown as the worst hero in Battlefront 2, we have Captain Phasma. Now Phasma has always been one of those that dwelled at the bottom of the Battlefront 2 hero/villain ranking videos, and it's no different here. While she isn't entirely useless, she requires probably the most boring playstyle of any hero or villain in the game. You need to use her droid to really get anywhere and literally just stay with the droid, but she's too boring to use and just not very good in my opinion. But I guess in that way she does live up to her disappointing self from the films. But moving on to number 19 now, we have Finn. So Finn is a bit of a letdown now, seeing as how good he was when he was released. Ever since then it's been a downward spiral, and now he is just too reliant on his Deadeye ability and is just a dead hero in Battlefront 2 really. Not a lot of people use him. Not to mention his health on kill star card is on a pretty average ability, so that doesn't help his case. He can be good and can melt on the odd occasion, but it's pretty well known that Finn is bang average, so I won't discuss it any longer. But now moving on to number 18, we have Leia. Now how the mighty have fallen. Once one of the top heroes in the game is now the definition of beyond average. Leia is a very defensive hero that just sits at the back of the map and snipes with aimbot secondary fire. That's what made her so good, but whilst you can still do that, it's nowhere near as effective as it once was. And she is just a really low option for heroes versus villains. You don't see many people using her at all anymore. She can't deal enough damage with her abilities. Two of them literally deal 0 damage to anyone, being a stun grenade and a shield, so of course that's not doing her any favours either. But her silver lining is her E11 and blaster. They are good, but damn, she has fallen from grace. But now, number 17, we have Chewy. So Chewy is a very good hero in Heroes vs Villains, but almost useless in Galactic Assault. His health on kill star card, much like Finn, is linked to an ability that just isn't the best. And his bowcaster can't really do anything at mid to long range. You need to have enemies literally in your face to do anything to them. So for those reasons, Chewy takes out number 17. So moving on to number 16 now, we have Boba Fett. Now, I always cop it from putting Boba Fett low on lists, but I'm not changing my mind today. Boba to me is the guy people choose in Heroes vs Villains to just piss off everyone by flying away the entire game. Like if I could actually punch a hero in the face, it would be Boba Fett. But in all seriousness, his rocket barrage is good, but not being able to aim his EE3 and having hip fire, I have just never really been a fan of that at all. Not to mention his health is extremely low to start with, and given the way this game is now, anything can just about wipe you out in 1 to 2 hits. So for me, Boba Fett remains low on the rankings, don't at me. But moving on to the number 15 spot now, we have Kylo Ren. Now I know a lot of people seem to think Kylo has been greatly improved since the last update. Now I personally just don't see it. I could swear absolutely nothing has changed at all. Maybe except for the way his frenzy locks onto enemies, but honestly that's just about it. Like for real, if anything, it feels worse than before. Maybe one day they might get Kylo's frenzy right. Also, his lightsaber strikes just seem to do no damage or not register half the time, and that's a major downside. Whilst he is a decent enough villain with his pull and freeze, I can't help but think that he would just be so much better if his frenzy actually worked properly and his pull done more damage. So whilst Kylo is decent, he still isn't great. But at the number 14 spot now, and I imagine this is going to annoy quite a few people, but we have ObiWan Kenobi. Now this is where the list gets really hard to put together, as Obi-Wan doesn't really deserve to be number 14, but that's just the way it all falls together. But regardless, Obi-Wan is probably the worst of the 4 new Clone Wars heroes added into Battlefront 2. I think that's not even up for debate either, to be honest. Whilst Obi-Wan is good, it feels like he has just watered down abilities of Luke and Rey. Like his mind trick isn't as good as Rey's, and his force push, it's not instant like Luke's. It's not as effective. It takes a lot of time to load up. So I can't help but feel he is like a budget version of the two. Whilst he is good and his damage reduction buff in the latest patch has helped his case to a degree, he's going to have to settle for a low ranking unfortunately. But now moving on to number 13 we have Iden Versio. So Iden has always been pretty solid, but with the stuns not being as good as they once were, she kind of loses what would have made her a top 10 hero. But she is still very good and her TL 50 and its secondary fire are amazing in both Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault. Her secondary fire can damage lightsaber users through their block, which is very valuable to have. Her droid is still helpful and her shield is good to get out of sticky situations in Galactic Assault as well, so Iden is still good, just not as good with the stuns being less effective. But moving on to number 12, we have Grandmaster Yoda. Now again, I think a few people might get a little bit angry at this and I totally get it. But I've said this before when I ranked the heroes by themselves, but I'll say it again. Yoda is good. I really like him. He has definitely grown on me in recent months. His small hitbox is really good, his unleash ability and dash attacks are amazing, and he is overall a good hero. It just goes to show how good the hero roster is in Battlefront 2 when heroes as good as Yoda are outside the top 10. But at the number 11 spot now we have Darth Maul. Now Darth Maul has slid down the rankings since the last time I done a bit of a ranking video, and that's largely because he's had a few bugs slide into his gameplay. Bugs like his choke not working from behind or at all, his saber throw still not working properly, and his dash attacks seemingly not doing the damage they once did. He's still a very good hero despite all of this, don't get me wrong, as when everything works, he's a great hero to use, but seeing as there's been some annoying bugs sneak their way into his abilities, he has slid outside the top 10. But cracking the top 10 now, and at number 10 we have Han Solo. So Han is overall a very good hero, and one of the few blaster heroes that stands an actual chance against a good lightsaber user. His sharpshooter and detonite charge abilities are both very, very good. His shoulder charge for me is his only downfall, it's kind of a last resort to be honest. But his DL44 is like an ability in itself. It's a great blaster that deals stupid amounts of damage, and can pretty much two-shot troopers in Galactic Assault. So Han is a great hero and very worthy of a top 10 place. But moving on to number 9 now, we have Lando Calrissian. Now your boy Lando is a very good blaster hero, one of the finest in the game without a doubt. All of his abilities complement each other, and his sharpshot ability is low-key one of the most overpowered abilities in the game. Also, his X8 Night Sniper is a great blaster, and you should definitely get those star cards upgraded for Lando, as he is a very good hero in both Galactic Assault and Heroes vs Villains, and like I said before, you can't really put a price tag on that. If they're good at both game modes, that's a good hero. But moving on to number 8, we have Luke Skywalker. So Luke is definitely a top tier hero. Anyone who has him as their favorite, I totally understand. When his abilities actually work, he is a really good hero in both Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault. His repulse, push, and dash attacks are great when they work, and his lightsaber damage is really, really good. Luke Skywalker, short and sweet, is a very good hero and a good option for anyone of all skill levels. But cracking on to number 7 now, we have Palpatine. Whilst he is nowhere near as good as he once was, I've had games that have made me realise why people still rate him so highly. He is a very good villain. I'd say he's definitely more of a Galactic Assault villain as opposed to a Heroes vs Villains villain. I've just said the word villains a lot, and you know what, it probably sounded weird, but we're going to stick with it anyway, I'm leaving it in. But he is great to just wreck infantry, and his dashes are so damn useful. Also, his chain lightning is next level and is an ability that works very well, and is a massive upgrade to any abilities he had in Battlefront 2015. But moving on now, and missing out of the top 5, at number 6 we have Bossk. Now Bossk, if you ask me, is just all round a great villain. He's good in Galactic Assault and Heroes vs Villains, provided you use him properly. But the fact that he can wreck up close and from a distance makes him so valuable. He is a good villain to get on every single map in Galactic Assault, which is rare amongst all of the villains and all of the heroes. All of his abilities work really well, and his Relby is one hell of a sniper from range and a shotgun from short range. Not a great character and probably doesn't deserve to be as good as he is, but that's just the way it is. But now cracking the top 5, and at number 5 we have Rey. So Rey has been top or near the top of my list for a long time, but she's slipped down the rankings a little bit here. Not because she's gotten worse, but because great heroes have been added and or improved. Now Rey has great abilities and they all serve their purpose. Her insight ability is super handy for flanking, Mind Trick is great and still gets people confused, and her dash strike is just so damn good. Also, her lightsaber strikes seem to register and deal more damage a lot faster than pretty much any other hero in the game, which is the complete total opposite of Kylo Ren, so Rey is a very worthy number 5. But onto number 4 now, and a villain we have Count Dooku. So Dooku was practically flawless when he was released into the game, I think it's fair to say. No major bugs, worked smoothly and had good abilities. He was voiced well, he looked great, just everything about Dooku was and is still good. The combination of a lightsaber and force lightning is great, and DICE done a really good job with that. He can melt in both Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault, which again is really important, and overall Dooku is just a great villain and easily one of the best in the entire game. But moving on to the number 3 spot now, and we have General Grievous. So the General is an absolute tank. Whilst he may be a little bit slow, that's probably the only gripe I've really got with him, maybe his thrust surge bugging out as well. But regardless, Grievous's power lays within his claw rush and his lightsaber strikes. With the Sith trained star card, Grievous can pretty much just wreck absolutely anyone and anything with just lightsaber strikes. And the claw rush is amazing for both defensive and offensive purposes. He can melt in both of the 2 major game modes, and it's just an incredible villain. He was a buggy mess when he was released, but now he is just a complete and total beast. But taking the runner-up medal as the best overall hero in Battlefront 2, we have Darth Vader. So Vader is just the definition of a tank, more so than General Grievous. He has stupid amounts of health, has an amazing saber throw, stupidly satisfying choke ability, and his furious rage just lets you go all Rogue One hallway scene on enemies, and it's just all Star Wars goodness. Vader, rightly so, is arguably the best hero in the game in some people's eyes, and I totally get it. A complete tank with 3 practically flawless abilities, you really cannot go wrong. But onto the number 1 spot now, and you all knew this was coming, and the best overall hero in Battlefront 2 is Anakin Skywalker. So Anakin is the hottest topic in Battlefront 2 right now, and for good reason. He is a goddamn monster. All 4 of his abilities are amazing. Whilst they're all unique, they are all very powerful and serve their purpose very well. My only issue with Anakin is I almost seem to not be able to finish a kill streak with him without a bug contributing to my death, whether it's being stuck in an animation or not being able to block anymore. They tend to be the only reason that I or a lot of people actually ever die with Anakin. Once they get fixed, he's going to be flawless. If he does get a nerf, the nerf that a lot of people are calling for, then I think he'd still be the best hero in the game easily. He is just so far ahead of all the other heroes and villains. And if you ask me, I think it should stay that way. The light side needed a hero like Anakin, as some of the best heroes are just no match for some of the top flight villains. But with Anakin, balance has been restored. But guys, those are all 20 heroes and villains in Battlefront 2 ranked from worst to best. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and play nice down there. I know these kind of videos tend to bring the heat into the discussion, but this is all just for fun. And anyway guys, I won't keep you here for much longer. This video is probably already stupidly long anyway. So if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And yeah, that does it for me today. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again real soon.